Hello and welcome to the Men's Lifeline Academy podcast, where we bring on Southern men who are here shaping the world and trying to be scholars of life, trying their best to help inspire not just themselves, but their families, communities, and everyone else they interact with. And today we have Caleb, and Caleb is going to be discussing today about the Astro Initiative. Now, the Astro Initiative is focused on building the future, always looking to the stars, looking to the sky's the limit, and at the same time, holding on to the biblical worldview. So I've never heard of Astro Initiative or an Asperpreneur. So we're going to be having a lot of learning today. So Caleb, welcome to the podcast, my man.
Thank you so much for having me, Zach. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so kind of like let's just kind of learn a little bit about who are you? Who is Caleb?
I am a weird combination of things. If I were to give an elevator pitch to somebody, I would just say I'm a weirdo that's interested in a lot of things and very good at very few. Uh, so, uh, my background is I grew up in rural Alabama, and as soon as I graduated high school, I joined the Marine Corps. I was an infantryman in the Marine Corps for a while. Went to the University of Alabama after that. And I currently own a gym. So that's me in like 30 seconds.
Hmm.
But there's a whole lot of ups and downs and all kinds of weird stuff in there. And how I ended up doing the Astro Initiative is a fun story that I kind of look forward to diving into today.
Yeah, and before we get into it, just we always like because we do have a lot of servicemen and women who, well, most men who come on this podcast. So we always want to thank them for their service. So I just want to say thank you for serving and just sacrificing and really having that desire to serve and to use that to inspire. So we always want to thank our vets.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
So kind of what was so I know you describe yourself kind of weird, kind of a little bit of a weirdo, like a lot of different
Oh, yeah.
things. So how did that all lead to the Astro Initiative? I mean, so what is your story?
Dude, this is all a God thing. Honestly, I feel like that's the perfect question because there's no way I could have orchestrated this whatsoever. Like I said, I have all kinds of weird interests, all kinds of different areas that I've always been into. I definitely have ADHD, and I've just kind of figured out how to use that to my advantage. And so I'm always bouncing from thing to thing. And with the Astra Initiative, what I was able to do is pull together all of these several things that I've been into because I've had a marketing company actually years
Oh,
ago that leveraged early AI. So I mean, this was 2022. Um, yeah, so right around there, where we're using like early stage AI to help entrepreneurs and smaller established businesses run marketing campaigns, basically. And so that was really cool, and it got me a lot of exposure to people who are trying to start businesses or running businesses.
mhm.
Um, my gym that I own right now is a little bit odd in the fact that, yes, we're there to help you build physically, but it's really there to help you build physically, mentally, and spiritually. We're
Mhm.
very much an explicitly Christian business. And I mean, we even have a men's ministry that runs out of there. So I'm interested in helping entrepreneurs. I'm interested in helping men specifically grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. I have the background in the military, so I'm interested in leadership and development, and being out in front and leading from the front. Um, and most importantly, I have a huge interest in my Savior, Jesus, because we can probably dive into my story a little bit later. But man, I've been on death's door several times. I should not be alive. I did not expect to be alive at
Oh,
this point. And literally, if it was not for Jesus, I would not be here talking to you right now. So this is all wrapped together uh, with a firm foundation in a biblical worldview and in the gospel. So now my goal is to help entrepreneurs grow physically, mentally, and spiritually, and to really launch their moonshot ideas and impact the future. And like I said, I'm sure unpack that more here in a little bit, but that's how I ended up where I am now, and just wrapping all these weird different interests. And you can see just from the layout of the Astropreneur website that I'm very interested in space. I have like weird certificates in like evolutionary cosmology and stuff at a graduate
oh wow.
level, and I'm just like interested in all that kind of weird. weird stuff. So like I've always loved space, and I've actually been accused of having my head in the stars constantly, um, whether it be just dreaming too big or thinking about space related things. And so that's where really the term astropreneur came from, is that someone who's been accused of having their head in the stars too much and thinking too big and dreaming too big. So yeah, it's all of my weird little interests that have just come together in this cool little project.
There's a lot to unpack right there. Between being on Dev
Yeah,
Store,
that was a lot.
having marketing to running a gym and always keeping your head in the stars. And I think that's honestly really cool because how often, as kids, do we just always like have these big ambitions, and then as we get older, sometimes your life hits your face in the door, right? And you kind
Oh
of
yeah.
lose that wonder of like what's possible, what could things look like. And so, you know, so what's that? So I guess my first question is, what was it like being on Death's Door to opening up all these like different businesses, especially a gym that's more Christian focused, which I've never heard of. I'm not surprised because I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs, online fitness coaches trying to help a lot of Christian men lose weight, gain life and everything, and vitality. It's a little different when you talk about actually having a building a structure that's purposely designed for that.
Oh yeah. So I will say I missed the first half of your question. I think we lost connection there for just a second. But just a quick
Okay,
recap. You want me to tell you about how I ended up owning a gym that's helping men grow physically, mentally, and spiritually, right?
correct.
Fantastic.
Beginning
All right.
at Death's Door, being
Oh
that kind
yeah.
of gateway.
So like I said, some of my background is in the Marine Corps as an infantry Marine, and that really came out of some bad years at the end of high school. I had a couple of years there where just everyone around me died,
Oh,
especially culminating in one summer where a lot of my friends died for different reasons. My dad died, family members died. I even had a close friend. He was actually a cousin of mine, but I call him a friend. Uh, get killed in Afghanistan.
oh,
Um,
shit.
and so at the end of high school, I joined the Marine Corps as an infantryman. I had different plans. I considered joining the Marine Corps before, but that was going to be like as a pilot, and I was going to go to school for aerospace engineering. But just threw all that aside, strolled into the recruiting office, and I said, "Hey, how fast can you send me to Afghanistan with a gun in my hand?" And they said, "It's the surge in Afghanistan. We can get you there real fast." So I'm like, "Roger that. Let's roll." So it was 3 days after I graduated high school, I'm off to boot camp. Um, Over the next couple of years, it's just everyone around me just keeps dying, usually by suicide. That's usually how and why all of my friends are dying. And so I just had to resign myself to I'm not living past 25. There's absolutely no way I'm living past 25. And when I say that, a lot of people think I'm being hyperbolic. No. When I hit my 25th birthday, it was truly a surprise to me. I thought either I would die in war or I would end up killing myself.
Oh,
I
jeez.
struggled massively with depression and suicide. Um, when I was younger, I really followed the Lord and all that. Definitely had a relationship with the Lord. And then after my dad died, I honestly just went off the rails and I just threw all that aside. And there was one point towards the beginning of my Marine Corps career where I just really set it aside and was like, I'm going to go do my own thing now. And I ran myself absolutely into the ground. Several nights with a gun in my hand, just wanting to blow my brains out. Several times where I intended to kill myself and something happened. Literally divine intervention several times. Um, and so there were, I should have been dead 50 times over. Um, and just so many times the Lord stepped in to save me, and I didn't understand that's what it was, and I didn't understand why. Um, and eventually, I ended up getting medically separated from the Marine Corps. I had had some injuries and a heat stroke that I'd kind of hidden from the Marine Corps,
Oh, jeez.
that I had actually had in the Marines. And I was just told, like, hey, either you make these injuries disappear or they're going to kick you out. And so some of my medical file just got shredded. And they eventually found it and gave me a medical discharge. And it left me kind of wondering around, like, okay, what the heck do I do now? And by that point, I'd gone reserves and I had my degree in sports science from Alabama. and had done a few other things. So I started dabbling a little bit more into fitness again. I'd been personal training for a while, so I did that a little bit. It didn't really go super well that round. I looked at being a police officer. That didn't work out. I actually uh, was joining the Army. I had everything squared away to join the Army and go be a pilot. That fell through at the last second because they told me I'd had too many concussions recently. I'm like, oh, well, that didn't work out. And so I just keep trying all these doors. I keep trying to open these doors, and none of
Right.
these doors are opening. And so I get super frustrated. And then I try to start my own thing a few times. The first real smart move I made is I moved to Tampa, Florida, which is actually where I'm at right now at my in-laws' house. And I moved to Tampa and got a job working at a gym. Eventually spun that off into a business, and did my own thing there for a bit. And that finally started to go well until COVID hit. I was primarily working with elderly people in their home, and it was going really well. And then my entire business went from very successful to having zero revenue in about 8 hours. Um,
Oh
it
my
was March
gosh.
11th of 2020.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And so then I was like, crap, I got to build another business. So I built another online fitness business. And then after I did that, I'm like, well, okay, I know how to build businesses, so I'm going to help other entrepreneurs do that. So that's how I ended up starting basically a marketing company. And I was using, like I said, early stage AI to pull that off. So it gave me a foundation of like what artificial intelligence was capable of at a base level.
Mhm.
And then I ended up kind of crashing and burning that because, well, I just really hated my clients. I'll just be honest with you. The people I was working with were terrible because I was taking anybody
Really?
and everybody that would pay me money.
Oh, I see. So you
Yep.
weren't being selective and really meeting with people. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just ended up being a nightmare, man. And I hated it. I hated every second of it. And then I found myself back into fitness again, excuse me, back into fitness again, and then still kind of wandering around like, oh, okay, I keep trying all this stuff. Where am I supposed to be? And it was around this time that I really came back to the Lord. And it actually ended up being a guy that's one of my closest friends now. He saw me drunk in a bar, and he was like very loosely an acquaintance. And he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, let me tell you about Jesus." And so that was pretty cool. That's a really interesting story there because he had just kind of started that path on his own. And so then I'm like, all right, Lord, I have nothing to give you, but everything I have to give you, it's yours. I was
Mm.
completely broke, completely mentally checked out. One of my times that I had a gun ready to kill myself was like maybe 3 days before this. Um, and I'm like, all right, Lord, this thing's yours. And then it was, all right, I feel like God's calling us to open a gym. All right, I have $73 in my bank account right now. Let's open a gym. And
Oh,
so, and I have that screenshot somewhere because it was just the most ridiculous thing of all time. But somehow it actually works. So I opened this gym, and it's just like I said, completely dedicated to helping men grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. Because I think you have to have all three of those foundational principles. Do you want me to stop there? Because that was a lot.
well, I was just gonna have you finish that last thought because here we focus on you and everything. And well, first of all, I'm glad you decided to put the gun down and not die by suicide. I'm really glad that you're still alive and everything. I mean, that's first and foremost of out of anything right now. Second thing is just if anyone else on there is struggling with those suicide ideations, just know that you're not alone. A lot of people do have them. And a great resource is 988. It's a
Yes.
suicide prevention number, and it can be very helpful. It's available 24/7, and it can help you hopefully get in contact with someone to really kind of help you work through those thoughts. Because wanting to end your life is one of the hardest things anyone has to go through when you have those thoughts. And so it's always kind of almost like a gut punch, realize that someone else has those thoughts too. So again, first of all, is I'm glad that you're here. Second
Thank
of
you very
all,
much.
you talk about perseverance. I mean, going through the military and then trying to be a pilot, kind of, getting discharged, getting said no, and then really trying to seek an alternative that's going to help make your life fruitful versus just continue down a road of despair, even with $73 in your bank account, decided to open up a gym.
Talk about needing a lot of miracles to happen.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a lot of times miracles is something we just can't explain that happens. That sometimes it's amazing when things need to work a certain way, and they do,
Yeah,
or else
absolutely.
everything's just gonna fall apart.
Just one quick story that it still
Go
blows
for
my
it.
mind that this happened, and there have actually been several different times that something very similar to this has happened. So after I opened my gym, a few months in, and I had hired a marketing company to help me, and things just went sideways. And they had control over like all of my stuff, and it was just absolutely nightmare. But long story short, I needed about $3,000. Um, and at this point, I needed it in about 3 hours, and I had
Whoa.
absolutely no way to get it. Um, and so I just go and I start walking through this field, and I'm just praying. I'm like, God, I believe that you've called me to open this gym. You've opened so many doors for me to be able to do it. Like, this is your thing. This is not my thing. I don't know how you're going to like drop $3,000 into my bank account in the next 3 hours, but literally have 3 hours until I have to tell the bank that I'm bankrupt. Um, it has to be by the end of that day. And so I'm walking through this field, and then I just suddenly feel this peace come over me. I'm like, oh, it's taken care of. It's fine. I don't need to worry about this anymore. And I reach down and I pick up a little rock. It's a little flint rock that I still have. And I'm like, this is going to be my reminder that everything's taken care of. And I walk about 45 feet further, and I get a call. And it's a call from not even a close friend of mine, just a friend of mine. And he's like, hey, man, I don't know. I feel like I need to pay your bills today. And I'm like, well, it turns out my bills today are $3,000. He's like, I'll be there in 30 minutes with the cash. And so the guy shows up, and make it to the bank with about 15 minutes to close before I'm bankrupt, with all of my bills covered in cash.
Cool.
And it was just purely from me being like, God, you've got this, man. I can't. I don't know what to do. And so that's just one of the craziest things I've ever experienced. And I keep telling that story because I need to remind myself that it's real.
Yeah, I mean, how often is someone willing to pay your bills? Maybe a few
Yeah,
$100. Sure.
yeah.
$3,000.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you just been walking around, somebody's called you, hey, I need to pay your bills, my man? Uh, Thank you.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I mean, in roundabout ways, a little bit, yeah, but not like from like a friend or something.
yeah.
So that's so are you still in touch, and hopefully you're still, that friend became a little bit closer, or is it just still, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got closer after that.
Well, that's good. Especially, was it more like a gift, or did you have to like pay it back?
He was like, you can pay it back if you want to. But he's like, I have no expectations. So, yeah. It was very much just a here. I feel like I'm supposed to give you this.
Wow,
It was
that's even more
super cool,
impressive.
man. Yeah. And it's not like this guy had a ton of money. He was just kind of your everyday guy. So like I know that was a substantial chunk of his income for that month.
Wow, the fact that he had enough money to cover you, and if he's not making, if he's making like a typical salary.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it was all a God thing, man. I can't wrap my head around it. So, and that was just, and if you're cool, I'll just kind of tell you how that immediately leads into Astra,
Yeah, that's gonna be my next
because
question. How does this everything lead to the main product?
yes, sir. Um, I really feel like all of this has just been building my faith to do the most ridiculous thing that I feel like the Lord could have called me to do, and that is the Astro Initiative. So, where all of this really stems from is I fundamentally believe that we're about to experience massive change in the entire world because of artificial intelligence. At the very least, almost every job is going to change. I think a lot of
Hmm.
jobs will probably become outdated and be taken over by artificial intelligence. And my specific focus, like I've said repeatedly, is kind of on those with a biblical worldview and on the church. And I've talked to so many, I've estimated about 150 people total over the last year and a half or so, since I've kind of been more interested in this. Uh, all Christians, and I ask, so what do you think about artificial intelligence? And I get one
Hmm.
of three responses. Uh, Response number one is it's coming to take my job, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm like, all right, well, that's an
Fair.
option to believe that. That's not a positive one. I don't like that. Option number two is it's the Antichrist. And I'm like, okay, how much are you willing to bet on that eschatology? I'm like, I don't like that response either. That's not a very good one. And then option number three is they immediately change the subject and talk about something else. So those are the three responses that I've gotten, with very, very few exceptions to that. I'm like, okay, well, these are not options that I'm willing to accept. And so I really began praying about, like, is there something I'm supposed to be doing here? Is there anything that could be done here? Like, how do we advance artificial intelligence in a good, strong, ethical way, preferably with a strong worldview leading that? And so that's what turned into the Astro Initiative. I had this idea. What if we could find 1 million people with strong drive, ambition, who are the dreamers, innovators, the entrepreneurs of the future, with a strong biblical worldview, and give them the tools, resources, and network that they need to launch their big moonshot idea. So their big, whatever their big launch, their big goal, their big dream is. What if we actually enabled them to try to pull off those moonshot ideas, whatever it is, whether that be a moonshot of an idea of, like, I really want to get promoted in my company to a high enough level to have some influence in this company, or be the next Elon Musk, anywhere in between there, and give these guys the tools and resources to be able to pull that off. And so that's really phase one. It's like, what if we helped as many people as possible pull that off, and what if we could get 1 million people to launch their personal moonshot? That could have cultural a culturally significant impact.
Right.
Even if, like, let's say 5 to 10% of those actually worked, I mean, that's still enough to really change a whole lot of lives, to really start to direct the future. Because one thing that I fundamentally believe is that if those of us with good ethics, moral, and a grounded worldview don't step in and lead society into the future, we're going to end up in a place we don't want. The spirit of the age will absolutely step in and lead if we do not. So we must step up and lead. And so far, I haven't seen a lot of people who are willing to uh, do that, except for those that are really those kind of crazy guys like me who are willing to dream and launch big ideas. So let's leverage what we have. We have a whole lot of people with big dreams that have kind of been crushed. My personal opinion is that the church of the 20th century and the early 21st century has just completely abdicated their cultural responsibility to be an influence and a voice to the culture. This is a pushback against that. If we abdicate our responsibility to be a voice to the culture going into the future, and we miss this tech revolution, we miss this opportunity to influence the future, we're going to have severe ramifications. So let's actually take some control over our own future. Let's leverage what we have and do something, right? So, like I
Hmm.
said, the first phase of this is going to be to help those guys launch themselves into the future so that we can actually have influence in what happens in the future. Because if we just sit on the sidelines, we're just going to get run over.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there as well. Taking something where not to be afraid of it and run away from AI and use it to, like anything, it's a tool.
Absolutely.
And it's all about how do you use that tool to help propel you. I know a lot of times nowadays AI is getting much more available in writing notes and being able to just run different ideas that can give you in minutes.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, I at my gym, this is actually how I really got into AI, is I was like, man, I'm spending a lot of time doing monotonous data type of input related work. I'm spending a whole lot of time doing that and a lot less time being creative and doing what I do best. Uh, so I'm like, I wonder if there's an AI system to do this. This is what, a year and a half, something like that ago. And so that's how I got into the AI world, is I just wanted to make my own business better. and make my own business more efficient. And I wanted to know my data at the touch of a button. So I can hit the button on my phone. I can ask Grok, hey, what is my cost per lead right now? Hey, what does it take me to get a customer? Hey, what is this number in my business? And AI can tell me exactly to the cent what that thing is. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's a lot here. And this is only getting faster and bigger, and it's going to have more impact broadly. So let's leverage this, man. We can actually use this to our advantage. And so that's where I'm at. Let's use this new tech revolution and all the tools that we have available, because the barriers to entry are just crumbling. So let's use that to our advantage and do something cool with it, you know?
Yeah, and so with Gronk, do you use the free version or do you have like the paid version? Because I know there's two
I have
different
the
types.
Yeah, I have the paid version, like the
Okay.
middle ground version. I don't have the Grok heavy that's like $300 a month, but I have the middle ground, whatever that is.
Jeez, I can't imagine spending $300 a month. But then again, if you're doing that, you're doing thousands of dollars. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's like more for research, I think. It's a little beyond what I need.
okay. Well, that's also important to
Yeah.
know is like what is your current level of need?
Yep, exactly. Which is really something I'm trying to help business owners with right now. One of the things I'm trying to get built with Astra, we have two different parts of this. One's for like the startup guys, the visionaries, dreamers, and innovators. The other is called Astra Upskill. So upskilling is using AI to your advantage and being able to better yourself, better your company, etc. So we have Astra Upskill, which helps individuals and organizations implement AI wherever they need it, and to really close loops, close bottlenecks, stuff like that, make things more efficient. So what we try to do, and really we're spinning this up big time in the new year. We're running some test cases right now. As we go in, just kind of do an audit and see, okay, what software do you need? What AI system works best for you? Do you really need anything that's expensive? Could you get away with just like a base level chat GPT subscription? Like probably for a lot of people, or do you need something more complex? So, just understanding what's available, what's out there, and what needs to be plugged in. It sounds almost redundantly simple, but with the speed of change right now, it can be a little complex.
Oh, sure. And so, what have you noticed between Gronk and ChatGPT? Like, what have you noticed is like the main difference between the two?
So Grok is great at being more colloquial, if that makes sense. Like it's very good at understanding the human side of things,
Okay.
to put things into terminology that your everyday person can understand. ChatGPT is probably a little bit better, especially with their latest releases, of being a more well-rounded model from different research to um, your random queries throughout the day of like, hey, I need a recipe for this. It's better at text editing. I'll say that. So like if you're writing a paper or something, you need it edited. It would be better at that. Uh,
Hmm.
and no, I'm not saying to offload all your tasks to ChatGPT, but
Right.
I like Grok better because it's better to me at pulling numbers for me and giving them to me in a way that is easy for me to wrap my head around in 5 seconds or less. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. You have more the human side, you have more like the research side. So I think that's a
Yep.
good distinction because I've tried using both of them personally for different venues. And so just trying to see how, on a free version, how to either
Mm.
improve something and make things a little bit more sharper and what are the different perspectives, especially as it's one of those things you really can't be resistant to because it's going to be a part of everyday life at some point.
Oh, exactly. And a great case study here. So I've been tinkering with Google Gemini since Gemini 3
Oh,
came
that's
out,
right. Yeah.
especially. And so they also have a part of Google's AI system called Anti-Gravity, which is a coding software. I know literally nothing about code other than how to copy and paste. And I'm not exaggerating that whatsoever. I know how to copy and paste things. But I went into Google Anti-Gravity and had it build the website that I had in my head. So there's more to the website that hasn't been published yet, but what you saw at astropreneur.com,
Yeah.
completely and totally coded from scratch by Google Anti-Gravity by a guy that has no idea how to code a single line. And I did that
Whoa.
in less than 4 hours. And that includes like downloading the software and learning how to use it. So like that's how powerful some of this stuff can be.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. Just again, just the speed of how things can get done, like developing websites, developing like a business plan, developing with different numbers, if you want to reach this X amount of numbers, that can actually, it will even ask you that question. It will ask you, like, do you want me to build you a plan of, let's say, upload
Hmm.
schedules, or how many people you have to call and follow up on and everything else?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the better you get at kind of prompting it to do what you need it to do, the better it gets. But each model gets smarter and smarter at kind of how knowing what you need anyway. And so it's been really cool. And I've used Gemini 3 for a lot of science related research recently
Hmm.
because they have great research capabilities there. So for my gym, for me to teach anything, I need 5 human randomized controlled trials to say that something works. Like I will have that number of files on my computer that I can show you. So that way I'm not caught up in fads or anything like that. I'm only
Right.
teaching what's gets proven results. So I'm like, I wonder if Gemini can help me do this research faster because it can be pretty slow to do that kind of research. And yeah, I went and had it pull only scholarly articles, only human randomized controlled trials, and my research database has gone up, I think, like 500% just from using AI to find these research studies that I could not find on my own or just didn't have time because I'm doing other stuff. So, I mean, that's just practical ways that I'm using these AI systems to make my business better.
That's impressive. So is Gemini free? I've never, I mean, I know when you type into Google, it kind of automatically does it. I want to say it's Gemini, I want to say, since it's part of it.
Yeah, it's like token limited. So you have a certain amount that you can use their best model with. But it's free to a certain point, and for most people, I'm sure that that's more than sufficient.
Oh, look at that. Don't be afraid of AI. Still, still don't lose that creative interest. Because I know that's a very common question.
Exactly.
It's like, well, if nothing new is invented and we know everything, we basically have an idea how to do things, like why they keep saying the same things. And it's all about, well, how are you putting your own touch and spin on it?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna
Like
have
how there's thousands upon thousands of gyms, and you're getting more niche focus of having a more of a Christian based gym and trying to build another business with Astra, trying to build
Mhm.
and keep inspiring people dreaming. So that way you're always looking to the stars. You're always looking to what's the next thing and how you can even help people and serve people. I mean, that's a whole intentional thought process right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I really think there's going to be a bifurcation going forward. There are going to be people that offload their brains into AI
Hmm.
and stop thinking for themselves. That will absolutely happen. I know that's a concern for a lot of people. And yes, your concern is fair. It is grounded. That is a real thing. A lot of people will do that. But there will also be people who don't offload their brains. They're going to use AI as an augmentation to their brains to get more leverage out of the cognitive load that they're putting into their work, right? And so those guys are really going to thrive. The ones that offload their ability to think through their situation, offload their ability to research and to do things on their own, they will basically just become zombified. I'm completely convinced of that. But there's going to be another section of people, and my goal is to be one of those that use this to my advantage.
No, it's awesome. I was gonna say I was scrolling through X today, and just in preparing for this meeting and everything. And one thing I saw, I can't remember who agreed with Mark Cuban, but basically, like Mark Wallace, one thing I agree with Mark Cuban is, one, every business is gonna at some point have to use AI, and then there's gonna be businesses that are no longer here because they didn't use AI to some caliber.
Yep, I fundamentally agree. It's just a speed thing. Speed will be
Right.
the future, and if you can't keep up because everyone else is on this rocket ship, I mean that's your own fault at this point.
So how do you keep up with in your day to day? Like, what does your routine kind of look like? Because if you're operating a gym, I'm sure you're at your gym quite a bit, and then
Mhm.
building Astro. So how do you deviate your time? And my biggest question is, how much do you sleep? Since that's a lot to put in to be able to be with your wife, be with your in-laws, run a gym, run this, and do all that research behind the scenes.
That's a great question, and a big thing has been the fact that I've been married for over 8 years now, and I've learned how to set boundaries with my work and with my family, and set expectations. So whenever I go into these heavy seasons of work, like building Astra is a heavy season of work, I'll be like, I'll sit down with my wife and be like, okay, I need this amount of time to just sprint. Uh, know that I love you guys, and I'm just going to put my head down. Here's what we're trying to accomplish, and she's completely and totally on my team. We set aside times to go on date nights and stuff like that to make sure like the family and home front shored up, and I spend as much time with my little girl as possible, and I try to put her to bed every single night. But I don't sleep a lot, I will say, during these periods of sprints. But I will have an end date to that sprint. My most recent sprint ended Saturday. So I'm here at my in-laws' house now, and I'm taking the next couple of weeks off to relax. So I do it in seasons because my normal routine is I get up about 3 to 3:30 in the morning, and then I get to the gym. Not long after that, I sit down, and recently it's been either writing my book, which got published in November, so I'm done with that, or building Astra, and then I start really working at the gym at 5:30. I do that until about noon. Then I have a gap in the middle of the day that I'm working on whatever admin work I need to do. Once again, using these AI systems to work a whole lot faster now, and building Astra if I needed to continue to work during the middle of the day like that. Then usually I finish the day doing gym stuff again, and then I'm usually home 6:30 in the evening, something like that, a little bit later. So that's how I balance it. But when I'm off, like my clients know that my phone is off. Like you're not getting in touch with me. Like I'm very much off. There's very much a I'm on or I'm off. It's all about boundaries, man, in that regard.
I mean, that's the key word is boundaries. Like, hey, you can call me any other time and during this time. I gotta recharge. That's awesome. So, do
Oh
you
yeah,
have? Is it just you running the gym, or do you have employees?
it is being downsized right now. So
Okay.
it's mostly going back to just me, and I'm
Okay.
turning it more into almost just my personal training studio at this point. And that's for several reasons, but mostly I'm putting more of my focus towards Astra as I think this is a more important venture. And I'm kind of handing the gym off a little bit more because we have a men's ministry that runs out of there. I founded it, but I don't run it.
Okay.
Actually, the guy that told me about Jesus in the bar, he's actually the guy that is the president of the men's ministry now.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, we're handing that off more to the ministry and letting them run it. So we have a weird, interesting story there. But
You know what? Everything comes full circle some way or another, right?
yes, sir. Yeah,
No,
so that's
well, I gotta say, I think your book looks really cool. I haven't read it yet, of course. I just found out about it the other day.
oh, thank you.
So, but just like I think really trying to really transform that and how to use AI to keep. So, how do you yourself really keep that childlike wonder, like your head in the stars? Like, how do you stay focused to that when you're a numbers guy? I can tell already, right? You like your numbers, you like your data and research. That makes
Mm.
sense because, I mean, having that engineer type of background and really studious. So, how do you keep yourself both grounded to the reality of what's possible at this moment and still kind of look forward to something, having that vision?
My natural inclination is to get lost in spreadsheets. And because you said like, yeah, I'm a data's guy, I'm a numbers guy, and so like my natural inclination is to pull everything in close and not push myself outside of my comfort zone. Do what works, only do what works, and do what's tested and proven. So that's where I naturally lean. Uh, However, like I said, I get up really early in the morning, and when I get to the gym, I usually spend about 5 to 10 minutes in prayer, and I look up at the stars. And every single time I look up at the stars, I can't help but to stand there in awe and wonder what could be, wonder what could happen. Think about how big the universe is, how big God is. And that alone expands my mind. So that is really a cornerstone of what keeps me pushing forward. Plus, having a daughter now, I really want to, and this sounds like a 5-year-old, uh, but I don't think it's crazy. I really want to shape the future that she grows up in. I really want to change the culture. I want to change what she believes is possible. I want to be a good influence for her, and I want her to grow up in a world that's not conquered by AI but leveraged by AI. And she has so many possibilities and the ability to do whatever it is that she wants to do. I want to shape that future for her, and I can't shape that future if I stay in my comfort zone. It is completely and totally impossible. So when I put my girl to sleep every night, I think about, am I doing what I can to shape her future? Not just, give her what she needs to survive, but to really be able to do what she wants in the world of the future. So that's what pushes me outside of my comfort zone and pushes me to do crazy stuff like Astro.
Well, I mean, all the greats were a little crazy at some point, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Elon Musk building how many companies? PayPal
oh
of
yeah,
all things, and
absolutely.
then obviously with Tesla and SpaceX and everything. I mean, takes a lot of time and dedication and a team. And so I know you're downsizing your gym, and so hopefully with Astra, hopefully that will supplement. We can have other people to support you in this, and you support them, and just knowing that sky's the limit, especially when you're building something to make things better. And I think use the keyword to leverage AI,
Hmm.
not be controlled by it or consumed by it, where it runs your whole entire life, where you lose that creative thinking, especially in a world who,
Mm.
and this has always been the case, right? It's nothing new, where people don't necessarily want you to think. So it's learning how to keep that
Oh yeah.
inspiration to think, and especially when you can think for yourself and make up your own decisions. And what are you willing to sacrifice? You get up at 3:30. I mean, how many people truly get up that early?
Yeah, I think a lot of people say they do. I don't think a lot of people actually do, but
Yeah.
that's just when I get my best work done. So that's what I have to do.
So how many hours a night do you function on sleep during,
I'll
well,
sleep.
during sprint times more so?
I'm gonna kill all the biohackers out there with my statement, but I usually sleep like 4 to 5 hours a night, and I'll take a little nap in the middle of the day. But 8 hours of sleep is definitely a rarity. But uh, I really got used to that when I was in the Marines, and I'm just like that. I operate perfectly fine off of 4.5 hours of sleep. So
Sure, it's like 8 hours, especially in the military, and they keep you up for days.
yeah, exactly. And I know that if I start to see animated characters in the trees, that I'm hitting true sleep deprivation, and I should probably go get some sleep. That's how I know when I need sleep.
That's a good sign. Hey, there's a little trinky bird over there. It's like, oh, that's not a good thing. I should brush up my
Yeah,
eyes.
why that is, I don't know. But yes, I start seeing animated characters in trees. I'm like, yep, okay, I'm sleep deprived. Let's go hibernate for a little bit.
So as we kind of wrap up today, what is something you'd want to leave with someone today? Like, what is a lesson that you want to instill in someone today?
I apologize. You cut out there for about five
Okay.
seconds, and I missed most of your question.
So as we wrap up today, what's a lesson that you want to instill to the viewers today? Like, what is something you want to tell someone who wants to dream big and they have a lot of doubts in their mind? Can they do this? Is it possible? Especially if they have people who are saying, "Sure, you can do this. Get more realistic. Gotta stay grounded." So, what would you say to someone like that who wants to look to the stars and make this world a better place and leverage the AI?
Send it hard, but also uh, make sure you have a community around you, because I have tried to launch things before, but I failed to have a community of people around me that I, one, trust and will actually give me good advice and good feedback. Because you will definitely have those naysayers around you, and you have to figure out who the naysayers are and who the people are that are like giving you good advice are. And if you can put yourself into a community of people who believe in you, will help critique your vision positively and move you in a good direction. If you can put yourself in that community, you'll have a foundation on which to be able to launch. But if you do not have that community, there's a whole chapter in my book about building a community. It's ironic that we're doing this call right now, and this is my main point, because my X community launches in like 2 hours that I'm going to try to use to help guys that don't have that community. But yeah, find a good community and then just send it, dude. I really dread getting to the end of my life and being like, what would have happened if I would have tried this? what would the world look like right now if I would have tried this? And you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to blow up. Your moonshot's going to blow up on the launch pad, and it's going to be terrible and embarrassing. And just eat that, suck up your ego, and keep going forward. And that's something I have to tell myself all the time, because there's a lot of suffering that goes into building something worthwhile. I don't want to be one of the guys that says it's all going to be easy, it's all going to be perfect. It absolutely will not. But if you're wanting to try something big, if you're a dreamer, visionary, or innovator, you're going to have to go through some suffering to get where you want to go. So, best place to do that is in a community that's willing to support you and help you, and open some doors that you might not have thought would have been able to be open before. So find yourself a community and just send it.
Well said. Couldn't say it better myself. That was really well spoken and focused on community, togetherness, and knowing that there's going to be a cost to it. That if you want to do something great, there's always going to be a cost to it. Now, is your community going to be free? Is it paid?
We're going to do a free community for anybody and everybody. And then there's going to be paid higher tiers, where I'm hoping to get investors in to not invest in me, but to invest in the people that are in the circle, where we'll do a little more individualized training, stuff like that. But I want something that the guy who has $73 in his bank account can come in and start to get that community put together around him. So we're definitely going
It's
to do a free
awesome having
version.
that. Oh, sorry. It's awesome having that humility of remembering where you started from and trying to give someone what they need and finding different level of investors. So that's awesome. So we always like to honor the guests who come up in here. So go follow Caleb. All his info will be his X, his website, his book is all going to be in the description below. So go check it out. And we always want to support people who are scholars who always want to learn, read, and execute. So, Caleb, thank you for coming on the podcast. And if you're a guy out there who needs some help, make sure you check out the Men's Lifeline Academy Discord group. It's a paid subscription. Right now, we're running a special deal about $12 per month. And get this, if you like this video, and make sure you like it, subscribe to it, and share it. So this way we can get this message knowing that there's hope. You can keep dreaming. And it's going to take some time. So take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. And in honoring kind of Caleb and his service and everything, we also want to make sure, again, that you know about 988. If you're struggling with suicide ideations, if you're a vet, if you're someone who's just going through a lot of depression, that number is available to people in need. It's a great resource. It can get you hopefully connected to some mental health agencies. So that way you don't have to take that battle alone. It's community, it's togetherness, and it's supporting one another. So go check it out. Go call that number if you need it. And go get yourself some help too, because you're important as well and your life is valuable. You're made for a reason, created for a reason, and we want you to see that for yourself. So one day you'll believe it and can look up to the stars, knowing that recovery is possible and new life is possible. So Caleb, I want to thank you for getting up this early with me, man. I know you're just your typical daily routine. You're on vacation, so I just appreciate you. And just hope you do well, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.